Welcome to the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge right here on WYKR, your country. And I'm Joshua Smith, and we've got another strong lineup for you today. Gary Moore sits down with the legendary Mark Beauchesne of New Hampshire Fish and Game to talk about landowner relationships, outdoor access, fishing, the important role programs like the Berry Conservation Camp play in connecting young people to the outdoors. It's a conversation about stewardship, education, and making sure future generations stay connected to the woods and the waters that we all enjoy. Also, I had an amazing conversation for our backyard, our spring backyard report. I caught up with the folks from the Pollinator Pathway. If you don't know what the Pollinator Pathway is, this is something that is pretty innovative and pretty creative that's happening throughout the entire United States, and there's a lot of chapters of the Pollinator Pathway here in Vermont and New Hampshire, and they're here to going to talk a little bit to us about how pollinators are and how you can kind of do your own part in your own backyard, how to create healthier habitats right here at home. Doesn't matter how big or small your yard is. There's things that we all can do. And before we wrap up, we'll hear from Lawrence Hayes is stepping in for Mark Breen at the Fairbanks Museum to give you your Outdoor Edge weekend forecast. It's Memorial Day weekend. Let's see if it's going to rain or what it's going to look like. So we're going to get started right now.
Good evening. Welcome to Thoughts on the Outdoors. My guest tonight is Mark Beauchesne from the Hampshire Fish and Game. Mark, welcome to the show.
Well, Gary, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's been a while since I've been on radio, so I'm really looking forward to having a chat with you.
Why don't you start off by telling us two things, a little bit about yourself, but also about your many jobs you have at Fish and Game.
Oh, sure. So I'm New Hampshire native, New Hampshire native, never lived anywhere else. My family hails from the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. My grandparents lived in Derby Line my entire life. We have a family camp up in the woods outside of Island Pond, Vermont. We've had a lease up there in the kingdom for coming up on 56 years now. That's where I play.
In Brighton.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're actually in Avery's Gore.
Oh, Avery's Gore. Okay.
Yes, sir. That's my backyard. Kid from New Hampshire gets to play in Vermont.
Is that part of the Conti National Refuge?
We are just outside of the Conti. Yeah, okay. We're on Weyerhaeuser property. Okay. We have a lease from Weyerhaeuser. Yep. We're not far from Unknown Pond, if you know where that is.
Mm-hmm. I sure do.
So I spend a lot of my time fishing and hunting, obviously. I grew up brook trout fishing and then moved into anything else that swims. Avid bird hunter. I have an English setter. Her name is Fern. And I spend a lot of time with her in the kingdom, also in New Hampshire too.
Right.
Yeah. For the agency, I started with the agency 28 years ago, actually as a volunteer. I was a volunteer for about 6 months with the angler education program, Let's Go Fishing program.
Right.
And then I was asked to fill in while the program coordinator went on maternity leave. When she returned, she got another job. Then I was in that position. I occupied the Let's Go Fishing program coordinator position for about 6 years, and then I was asked by the executive director at the time, Glenn Normando, to apply for the marketing position at the agency. And then that position evolved over the years, because if something needed to be done, Gary, I would say, yes, I'll do it. So my title is programs manager. Part of my responsibilities is Berry Conservation Camp. That's our youth camp over in Milan. We partner with 4-H. 4-H is really good at what they do in regards to the care and feeding of the kids and programming. This is much like the camps in Vermont, it's true outdoor camp. The kids shoot, fish, hike. They're outside. Right. They're unplugged. So this is the time of the year that we get ready to go to camp, and I've been working to get camp ready for these kids' arrival, and come here to see you on the way back through.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Also, now, what I do is
just while we're on, before we get off the camp.
Yeah.
The camp runs for what, 6 weeks, you said?
Camp runs for 6 weeks, yeah, and they're different theme weeks. There's, of course, a hunter education week where they just cover all of that. That's important to us. And my personal favorite is fish camp. So the hunter education and the fish camp are things that were started with my best friend, Sean Williamson. He was the hunter ed coordinator. I was running the angler ed. And at the time, their programming with 4-H was not as focused as we'd like to see. And we helped with that, and it's stuck, and they love it. These kids get to fish Flat Pond, which is on the hatchery. You can't see how big I'm putting my hands up, but big trout in there. And it's just a great place for the kids
But you're
to
a
be.
fisherman, so you would exaggerate anyway.
Not at all. No, never. You know,
Not representing fish and game.
Yeah, all fishermen are liars except for you and me, and I'm not so sure about you. But camp's a passion for me because I did not get to go as a kid. It doesn't matter. I was 30 years old, and I got to go to camp every summer, and I've been back every year since. It's pretty awesome.
Great.
So
great.
I love it, and I see what it does for these kids. And, you know, after doing it for nearly 30 years, some of these kids are bringing their kids to camp now, which is kind of feels a little strange to me. I'm not really sure about how I should feel about that. I think I'm getting older here, but I'll take it. But a lot of these kids I still see. A couple of them became conservation officers.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and that attended Berry Camp. So they're still involved in camp, too. They run a conservation officer week where the kids kind of learn about what they do. It's kind of like basic training for COs for that week that the kids are at camp. So
good. So I interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
Some more about your various jobs.
Yeah. So another segment of what I do is landowner relations. We have a program that we coordinate that is a cooperation between the landowners and the Fish and Game Department in New Hampshire. What we do is we provide signage to the landowners to address common landowner concerns. You know, people blocking gates, things like that.
But you do a lot of outreach with that program.
We do a fair amount of outreach. We make sure that we're visual in all the sporting publications and things like that, with the number one message that you and I learned at a very young age. You thank that landowner for that opportunity to be on their property. You know, without that, we would not have the opportunities that we have in New Hampshire and Vermont, for that matter. You know, landowners keep their property open primarily because they're proud of what they have, and it's our job as hunters and anglers to respect that.
Absolutely. Listeners to this radio program or readers of my column over the last 49 years know that how strongly I feel about landowner relations, which is, by the way, how I happened to contact you last fall to see if I could get you on. I will say this about New Hampshire Fish and Game. I get all their press releases, and they really do a good job throughout, especially the hunting seasons in the fall, about emphasizing landowner relations. And then usually the first of the year, they encourage people to thank the landowners and so forth.
Yep.
You know, that's extremely important.
Yeah, and it could be something as simple as just a little note. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, that goes a long, long ways. And, you know, and some folks take it a little bit further. They'll bring some venison or, you know, maybe a turkey breast or something this time of the year.
But it never hurts to say thank you.
Never. And, you know, but it's at the end of things, before things even happen. You've already been there and you said thank you. But there's also another process of maybe asking for permission. The property may be open for recreation, but still, it's polite to ask. And even if you're not sure if they allow hunting or fishing or not, a pint of maple syrup opens a lot of doors.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, you know, I like your statement about just asking.
Yes, sir.
I mean, in Vermont, New Hampshire, if it's not posted with signs, legally posted, it's open. But, you know, going and ask that landowner if you can hunt there, even though obviously legally you could, makes a difference.
It does.
That person may well, when things go sour, you may be the only hunter he allows on his land because you asked.
Correct.
And he can tell you, my grandson's going to hunt this section. I prefer you didn't go there. You know, but you know, my experience has been many times, if they're not, they'll say, "Oh, out there in the back 40, I've been seeing an 8-pointer." You know, it really helps to ask.
It does. And once you've asked and you've had that hunt, and you said thank you. If you observe anything that's unusual, you know, trail cameras or tree stands or wherever that they didn't know that were there, or trash or something else like that, notify the landowner, let them know. But if it's trash, pick it up, take it with you. You know, don't let them see it because they might think that might have came from you. So, plastic bag in your pocket goes a long ways. So.
Well, just one more thing, and then we'll get off this topic. But I work all over the U.S. and the territories. I've worked in every state except Hawaii and all of U.S. Virgin, anyways. And I see how different it is in lots of places where the land is closed unless you have written permission. They don't have to put up any signs. Don't get caught in Texas on somebody's land. Don't get caught in many of the western states. They're not open and without written permission, and many of them it's difficult to get on. But those of us who grew up in this part of the world just don't understand.
No, we don't. We don't understand how we're lucky. And I get those questions from folks that move from away to New Hampshire about where can I hunt? Can I join a club to go hunting or whatever it may be? And how did we get to this point with this private property, public access? For me, if I'm to interpret how things evolved in New Hampshire, Vermont, and the Northeast in particular, is that we looked out for each other. Small towns, small neighbors. You knew your neighbors, so Robert Frost put it pretty well. Whose woods these are, I think I know.
Right.
And that says a lot to me, and that's really what kind of inspired me to do more with this program.
Right. Well, it's an important program. I think that's a good place for us to take a break.
It's the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
At R&L Archery, we know it's not just about the thrill of the hunt or the size of the fish. It's about the moments that matter most, the traditions passed down from one generation to the next, and the stories told by the fire long after the sun is set. It's about the journey, the memories, and the time spent together with friends and family, because these are the moments that truly last a lifetime. R&L Archery, where every adventure begins. Come create your story.
The Autosaver Group's St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram asks, do your outdoor adventures take you to where you wish you had a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive? At St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, explore their vast inventory of adventure-savvy four-wheel drives and all-wheel drive vehicles ready for you to drive at home. Plus, every St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram deal includes the Big Deal Plus, which is a 2-year unlimited scheduled maintenance plan, which includes free state inspections for life. Stop in today in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, or shop St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram online at stjohnsburycdjr.com.
When spring finally gets here, folks around here don't waste much time getting back outdoors. From fishing tackle and turkey season supplies to the basics that make a day outside go smoother, CCR Sports in St. Johnsbury is ready to help. They know what local outdoor folks need this time of year, and they're happy to help them get ready. Visit ccrsports.net today. CCR Sports has something for all seasons and all ages. And in the North Country, you need both covered.
Every business story starts small. As you share your story, it creates movement, and movement builds momentum. Your social media and website are the conduits for that story. It's about more than clicks and views. It's about creating connection, community, and opportunity to do business. It's time to tell your story. Go to northeastkingdomonline.com. Our local Vermont team can help you get more from your online media. Once again, that's northeastkingdomonline.com.
Well, welcome back to Thoughts on the Outdoors. My guest tonight is Mac Beauchesne from the Hampshire Fish and Game, someone who knows this area very well, having spent much of his life in the Island Pond, Brighton, and Derby Line area. But now we're talking about New Hampshire, where he's worked for 28 years?
28 years, yeah.
Years. Well, I know you're an avid fisherman. I know you're responsible for the fishing program. Let's talk fishing for a while.
Oh, absolutely. So, obviously, May 15th to June 15th, we're in the catch and release season for smallmouth and largemouth bass. Folks should know what that's all about, but it's there to protect them during their spawning season. No live bait. Fish have to be immediately released. You can still fish for them, Gary. It doesn't mean like people should stop fishing for them. Targeting fish that are spawning, yeah, you can do it. You can not do it. I mean, it's a good way to introduce kids on catching fish. Use barbless hooks. Personally, I prefer to use some sort of surface lure because if that fish leaves its job and goes to eat something naturally, that's what it does. Right. Fly fishing, we do that a lot for smallmouth this time of the year. And what coincides with this time of the year for me with fishing is also chasing after northern pike, whether it be in the Connecticut River or the impoundments such as Comerford
Big northern pike.
Yeah, Comerford or more. That's boy, that's a fever that just doesn't go away. I'll tell you what. I experienced it with a 12-year-old boy this weekend over on Spofford Lake.
Spofford, okay, sure.
So he wanted to catch a northern pike like nobody's business. I've seen it happen to adults too. They get this focus, nothing else matters until they actually get that fish. There might be an actual condition called pike fever. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
And I think it actually can be contagious.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. So once I got into that fever, once this kid got the fever, we worked it, but no results. So now he has to go to the next thing. Try it again. So they're not as easy to catch, I think, as most people think. I mean, we don't have the population that you see in Minnesota or even Canada. Right. So they're a little bit more treasured. Some people don't care to fish for them, but for me, it's just a big pickerel. Well, a big pickerel that weighs 20 pounds is well worth trying to catch because you know it's an awesome thing to do, and that's other alternatives outside of trout fishing. Of course, we got brook trout, rainbow trout, brown trout, landlocked salmon, lake trout in the big lakes. Salmon fishing's coming on right now too.
Here in this area, very close to where we are today, recording here in Wells River, walleye are a much sought after species in the Connecticut River.
I have spent some time fishing for walleye at the confluence of the Wells River and the Connecticut River.
So have I.
With
Yes,
Dave Duplessis. He was a Let's Go fishing instructor for many, many years, and it was probably 1998, 1999. He invited me to come up and go walleye fishing. I'd never done it. I had no clue what it was about. And it was kind of, all right, what are we going to do? How's this work? So basically, we were just drifting live minnows on what I would call a split shot rig.
Right.
You know, just enough weight to get that thing down and bounce that thing along. And in the meantime, you know, while we're fishing, we're also picking fiddleheads.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So,
you didn't happen to stop down to Bedell Bridge State Park and pick some fiddleheads?
I have picked fiddleheads there before. Yeah, and black raspberries. Yeah, I'm a bit of a forager. I do like to.
We're pretty happy that New Hampshire put in a boating access there.
Yeah, it's a wonderful access to the river right there. You know, and it's large, easy turnaround, lots of parking. It's a fun spot. Yeah, and a great spot to just hang out too. I mean, you don't have to go fishing to go there.
Right.
I mean, it's just a beautiful little
trail
spot.
network through the wetlands there. Well, you know, it's a special place. No question about it.
Yeah, you can come home with a basket of fiddleheads.
Right.
A little earlier than we are now. This warm day today certainly changed things a little bit for us, but things are growing fast.
You know, something many people don't understand, but I think it's worth mentioning now, is the relationship Vermont and New Hampshire have regarding the Connecticut River. A resident New Hampshire license or a resident Vermont license is valid anywhere in the Connecticut River to the first highway bridge on either side.
Right.
I've emphasized highway bridge, not railroad bridge.
Right.
Because the railroad's mostly on the Vermont side down here. That means you get to fish the tributaries. In the case of Bradford, the Waits River, about a mile of river under New Hampshire regulations with my Vermont resident license, I can go over and fish all the way to the first highway bridge in New Hampshire.
Right.
And that's a real good benefit.
It is. And you know, you and I probably fish it a lot. I don't know how, I think it's an underutilized resource.
Oh, it is.
I don't see nearly the angler
I think
traffic that it should.
You talk to any of the conservation officers that have the western side of the state, they'll tell you the same thing. They see there's very, very little fishing pressure on the Connecticut River, and it has such a wide variety of species.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, right a mile from here, you can catch walleye, you can catch bass, you'll even pick up some trout.
Yep, some browns in there. Yep.
All in the same section of river. You never know what you're going to get.
Yep. A few years ago on the Connecticut River, fishing with a friend of mine, Carter Heath, we encountered hybrids, northern pike, chain pickerel. I have not seen them since, so if any of your listeners have seen one or caught one since, I'd love to hear about it later on, because they're just kind of cool looking. Beautiful fish, and you know, the ones we caught were probably 18 inches. Nothing huge. But I'll tell you what, they had a little something extra to them. They were rugged and just gorgeous fish. They're just really neatly marked, and So maybe we'll find some more of those this year.
Yeah.
Who
why
knows?
not?
Who knows?
Let's go upriver a bit. I'm one of those that likes to fish up around Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So, me too. It's been a bit. But there was a time in my life that I would leave Concord and make that drive at 3 in the morning so I could fish for 4 hours and drive back. So that should be an indicator to your listeners how good it is and how much fun it is. There's sections of the Connecticut River below First Dam that I like a lot.
Yeah, where the state campground is.
Yeah, where the state campground is. We've done well on rainbows and landlocks right there in that big pool at the bottom of that. Right where it dumps into the Lake Francis. Yeah, I don't want to give away all the spots, but
well, there are many from this area that tend to go up there a lot.
They know them, and there's a good map up there now too.
Yeah.
Back when I was doing it, there wasn't. You had to know somebody, or somebody had to take you, to these little moose paths that brought you into the river, and off the bridge or whatever, off the covered bridges or.
Well, one of my brothers who lives next to me in Bradford, he probably goes up there twice a week.
Good for him.
He fishes Pittsburgh. He also fishes a lot right there in Leamington, Colebrook.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a long drive to just fish for a day, but he does.
You know what? These are the things we do as anglers, and some people may say there's something wrong there, but somebody would drive 2 hours to play golf.
Right, and pay quite a bit of money for
a whole lot more money just to chase a white ball around.
Yeah, I pay one fee for my fishing license.
Yes, and you can do it over and over and over and over again until you get it down to pennies per time you go.
Right.
And isn't that the goal?
Right.
I think that's how that's how I look at it. Is I fish a lot, and when somebody says what's a lot, I mean 3 days a week. Depends upon the week.
Well, we're lucky in both New Hampshire and Vermont. We have a lot of water.
We do.
A lot of lakes, ponds, rivers, streams. It's it's pretty hard not to find a place to fish close to where you live.
Understood. And we make it easy.
I don't have to drive to Pittsburgh to find good fishing.
Right. And we make it easy because right on our website, fishnh.com, you can places to fish.
Right.
We have a boating access map that's interactive that you can go on there and say, okay, here's this water body. Then you can reference it to the stocking report, see when things have been stocked, etc. Yeah. So a lot of this homework can be done before you even leave the house the night before. You know where you're going, what's in there.
That brother I talked about that goes to Pittsburgh, Holbrook all the time, he's fishing Lake Armington today over in Piermont.
Oh, really?
Yep. My guest tonight, if you're just joining us, is Mark Beauchesne from the Hampshire Fish and Game. Mark, we talked a little bit about the Berry Conservation Camp. Why don't you talk a little bit about that now?
Sure. So we run 6 weeks of camp. Each week has a different theme. The camp is appropriate for boys and girls 12 to 16 years old. The first camp session is mini camp. It's a shorter session for the younger kids, boys and girls. So mini camp is just what that is. It's only 2 days, 3 days. It's appropriate for those who've not had like a first time sleepover camp, things like that.
By the way, these are sleepover. These are resident. You come and spend the night and get your meals.
You spend a week there, basically.
Right.
Yeah, and all the kids are unplugged, no phones. There's hardly any service there, anyways. And camp runs on stomach. The food there is fantastic.
Right.
The water you get to go swimming in is always cold because it's the North Country. So, but it's fun. They run theme weeks that have, different kind of themes to them. Outdoor adventure, on the wild side, fish camp, hunter education. But during each week, the kids get to go fishing, shoot archery, shoot 22, shotguns, things like that. That's still part of camp.
Right.
Plus all the other traditional fun camp stuff, campfire building, shelter building. We do some map and compass skills, a lot of team building, those types of things, because 4-H and their youth development really do a good job of connecting the outdoors to the kids.
Great. You also run a lot of programs at Holderness.
Yeah, our Owlbrook Hunter Education Center is about to start their summer session. And that information, you can go to our website, wildnh.com. They run a day camp for kids to learn more about shooting sports. Owlbrook Hunter Education Center is located in Holderness, New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. Super cool facility, modern facility. There's a indoor archery range, a 3D archery range, a shotgun range. small bore range where they also will do black powder in that small bore range. The 3D archery course is open to the public, so if somebody wanted to come and just walk the course and do that, they could do that. They run adult programs there also, so folks can learn more about that by hitting our website, obviously, wildnh.com or huntnh.com, and look for Albrook on our education side of things. They do trapper education there also.
In fact, there's a trapper education coming up fairly soon, I think.
Yes, there is, yeah. So that provides some opportunities to do water sets. Trapper ed's kind of hard to do in a school or something like that, or a firehouse or whatever. Doing it outside and having the proper soil and ground so they can demonstrate how to dig a proper pit and how to sand it, those types of things, or do a water set like I'd mentioned, because there's a small, I guess you'd call it a beaver flowage at Albrook. It's mostly breeds mosquitoes, but it does its job, for that. Also,
Albrook is where you do a lot of course for women.
Correct. Yep. We do some of our outdoor women's program there. When we do our fall program, all of our shooting sports activities happen at Albrook. In the wintertime, Albrook hosts our Becoming an Outdoors Woman winter adventure. Indoor archery, obviously, but we want to get them outside. So there's shoe and shoot, which is a very popular activity for the women, is snowshoeing and small bore 22s. It's a good time. That's kind of like a spin-off of like a primitive biathlon. Right. So you must have done those in the past. Yeah, they're a good time. Black powder and snowshoes.
Well, I mentioned the women because more and more women are getting involved in what once were considered male aspects of hunting and stuff, and they're becoming very adept at it and very good at it too. Right. Yeah. Most of us who've ever taught hunter safety said we'd rather teach women than men because the women will listen and do it better.
Having instructed,
they don't already think they know everything, right?
Right. Exactly. Having instructed women, fly fishing, basic fishing, you name it, they're adept to listening. Much better than men. Right. My wife will tell me that. Yeah, we had Vermont's program, Women of the Woods. Yep. On 2 weeks ago, I believe. Yeah, and they're very much into training women and managing their lands and chainsaw safety and all those sorts of things because more women are controlling the land. Well, they're also landowners too.
Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean. They may own it jointly, but here in Vermont, I was amazed at the huge number that are owned only by women. And as they pointed out, unfortunately for you and I, is that women tend to outlive the men, so it may own jointly, but then the women may be managing that land for several years after we're gone.
Absolutely,
and so having them understand land management and all that stuff is really important.
Yeah, 2 years ago I was a guest at the Women of the Woods, or the New Hampshire version of that was put on by UNH Cooperative, and I was there to talk about the landowner relations program, et cetera, because folks have a lot of questions about current use, what those regulations are, things like that, and our landowner relations program has lots of resources on our website. It's right there, huntnh.com, and then under the hunting tab, someone just click on that, landowner relations. There's a whole resource page for landowners that'll include, how to properly sign, but also the current use laws. Right. And what does that mean? We hear it a lot. I hear hunters a lot say, well, it's in current use, I can hunt it. It's not always the case. That's because correct. There's like 6 different versions of current use, whether it be current use agriculture, current use this and that. There's only one current use that you have to allow the hunting as a recreation, and that's the current use recreational assessment discount. Okay. If it has the rec on it. So on that topic, how do we know if a piece of property has that? Well, nowadays you can go to any town and look at the tax map and find that piece of property and find the tax card and see if it has that recreational discount.
Oh, I'll be darned.
So we have tools like
so we only have one current use in Vermont.
We've got several.
I know.
Yeah, we got several.
Yeah. Huh. But you recommend going to the town clerk's office and looking at the tax?
Absolutely. You can do it right from your phone or computer. Right. Apps like Onyx and things like that are helpful, but not 100%. Right. You know what I mean? So that's why going to the tax map, and that way you can find that landowner and make that ask also.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
even if it is in the recreation. Quite often you're going to find that landowner lives in Virginia or New York
Right.
or what have you, you know. There's still going to be an address for them to figure it out.
Oh,
so,
yeah. While we're talking of landowners and so forth, New Hampshire has a program similar to Vermont, Coverts, which is to help train landowners in everything from wildlife to fisheries to riparian boundaries to you name it. And that's another program that I know Fish and Game in New Hampshire is very much involved in and very
Yep.
worthwhile.
Yep, and we partner with UNH with that also.
Right.
We also have what's called a small grants program through our wildlife habitat program. So landowners could apply for a small grant. I'm not going to quote any dollar numbers because I don't remember them, but it's all on our website. So
Right.
small grants applications for folks to free up apple trees or, you know,
Right,
do some
apple tree
plantings
release.
or not do any mowing.
Right.
You know, because we want to make sure that we have grasses for grassland species like bobolinks and things like that.
Yeah.
So us bird watchers.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, all those things are important, obviously. Our time is about up. Mark, you know, what do you want to close with?
Well, Gary, this has been fantastic. I've had a great fortune to be on the radio with many, many different hosts. And for this to be my last official radio interview as a state employee, I'm honored to have you be the guy who's interviewing me.
You're
Thank you.
retiring?
Yes, sir.
When?
September.
Wow. Well, I'd like to make a final statement, and that is, I'd like to emphasize some of the things you said about land-owned relations. Asking permission ahead of time and saying thank you afterwards.
Much appreciated.
With that, good night. Hope to see you in 2 weeks. So you are
It's
retired?
the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
The Autosaver Group St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram asks, do your outdoor adventures take you to where you wish you had a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive? At St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, explore their vast inventory of adventure-savvy four-wheel drives and all-wheel drive vehicles ready for you to drive at home. Plus, every St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram deal includes the Big Deal Plus, which is a 2-year unlimited scheduled maintenance plan, which includes free state inspections for life. Stop in today in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, or shop St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram online at stjohnsburycdjr.com.
Spring is here. Oh, what a delight. Bachelor Carpentry will build it just right. A deck for the stars or a porch for the sun. We craft perfect spaces for everyone. So cheer and chuckle. Let's start the fun. Visit vtcarpenter.com. Our work's never done. Spring projects are here. Let's give them a run.
I really enjoy Bachelor Carpentry's poems. They're just super fun. And so we just heard before the break that Mark Beauchesne from New Hampshire Fish and Game had a conversation with Gary Moore. And now coming right up now, I had a wonderful conversation from the Pollinator Pathways. And that conversation is coming right up right now, actually. Here we go. Joining us are Melissa Jordan and Denise Green, who are here to talk about the Pollinator Pathway, a growing effort to connect yards, gardens, farms, roadsides, and public spaces into a healthy habitat corridors for pollinators and wildlife. Their message is simple but powerful. If you plant it, they will come. We'll learn more about Pollinator Pathway is, why native plants matter, and how folks can reduce pesticides, and how even a small patch of lawn or garden can become part of something much bigger. Melissa and Denise, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So for folks hearing about this for the first time, what exactly is a Pollinator Pathway and why does it matter here in our region?
Denise, would you like to answer that? Sure. It's actually connected habitats. So when pollinators are either living or moving around, they are obviously finding nectar, and that's what gives them sugars to keep them going. So if there is a lot of nothingness, like a big giant lawn that's being mowed and they have a long distance to travel between nectar, they may not make it sometimes. So we want to try and and close that gap in their ability to forage for the nectar that they need, the nectar plants. So it's really having contiguous sources of food and houses because they make their homes there too.
Right.
And another reason why it's really important to do this as often as possible is because different species of insects can travel different distances without running out of steam. So the more patches there are of native plants, the more beneficial it is.
Right, and a lot of people think about bees and butterflies first, but pollinators include moths, flies, beetles, birds, and even bats. Which pollinators tend to surprise most people the most?
Oh, I think the beetles. Yeah, beetles and just the ones that you wouldn't even think about. Caterpillars, of course, they're moths. When they pupate, they emerge as a moth. And so people just don't associate caterpillars with pollinators. And moths live in our beautiful maple trees and all of our native trees. And they're very necessary in their early stages, in their caterpillar stage, for our baby songbirds. All of our wild songbirds' babies live on those moths that are in our trees that become caterpillars, or that start out as caterpillars.
And I would add...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I would just add bats for me. Bats are really important, and so some people are freaked out by the idea of bats, but they're very important pollinators as well, and, active during the evening, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you both of you mentioned native plants a couple times already. So why are native plants so important, and what are a few easy native plants that work well for homeowners who are just getting started?
Oh, yeah. They're important because they evolved with the pollinators. So, since the last ice age, they have been evolving together in this particular region of Vermont called Ecoregion 58, and also it's in New Hampshire, and some of it in New York too. So we're highlands. We are highland forests, and so those particular pollinators that we find here, and those plants that support them, are uniquely connected. Mm-hmm. Without some of these specialist pollinators that we have, without the plant, they would go extinct. So, with development and in our forests and lands, and with climate change, it's harder and harder for them to really, thrive.
Right.
So we just give people a reason to help them.
Now,
we try and steer them in the right direction.
Right. Now, so the Pollinator Pathway also encourages people to not use pesticides. What are some practical ways to manage a lawn or garden without harming pollinators?
With native plants, you really don't need to use pesticides. They are used to being wild. They have grown in the wild for ever since the last ice age, and so you don't need the pesticides to, they've got what they need, as Denise was saying earlier, right there. And so that's the main thing. And then there are, all pesticides will kill, really, unless it's a matter of growing food crops. You don't need the pesticides. Mm-hmm. With a pollinator-friendly garden, you are not striving for perfection. You can create beauty without perfection. And the natural systems, by maintaining the soil quality in your garden, then, that should take care of preventing a lot of pests in the first place. Denise, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, a lot of the insects that you will invite by creating a pollinator garden or creating habitat are going to be insects and invertebrates that eat pests. So you're going to find that you have all these pest-eating insects coming in, and you don't have a pest problem anymore. And if you're inviting the native plants, the pests don't really have any place to go because they don't eat those plants. They like the exotic ones. They're used to the ones that are from, Europe and Turkey and South America and all these places we bring plants from. And it really actually invites, the pests. So, yeah, it's a win-win really, because you'll invite more beneficial insects that really eat the pests.
So what makes a yard or garden especially welcoming to butterflies, bees, and birds beyond just planting flowers?
Yeah, it's the habitat. It's creating places where they can live, where they can carry out their entire life cycle and not be threatened. So these kinds of places are on the back of your property maybe, and you just let them go and allow them to be. Right. And those insects will thrive in there. You'll find a lot more wildlife than you had before because, it's not lawn anymore. It's not like a monoculture and a dead system. You're creating a living system, a whole biodiverse system that will thrive.
The Pollinator Pathway is about connecting natural areas. So how does one small garden help when it becomes part of a bigger community effort?
One small garden, even a few plants on a patio on somebody's deck is another way to at least give a pollinator some nectar if it needs it. If it's depleted, in the hot weather or something, and it's flying around trying to find something, and there, look, behold, there's a plant on somebody's deck in a big bucket, growing, so they can land on that. So really, it's whatever you can do.
Right. Now, what are some common mistakes people make trying to create a pollinator habitat, and how can they fix them?
Oh boy, the biggest one. It's really not the general public's fault. We're just realizing that the whole nursery system in this country has been dominated by cultivars, which are plants that were created to be showy, and they are actually missing some of the key parts that are needed by pollinators in order to feed. And so by buying just, random plants at the nursery without asking for native plants that are native to this region, you can end up with a plant that really is not going to feed the pollinators. Mm-hmm. And also, as a consumer, you have great power to influence what is available at nurseries by making requests. It's becoming more and more of a sort of niche for places to make available actual eco-type, native. Mm-hmm. Did I say that word correctly?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. The plants that will thrive in our ecoregion are now becoming more available. There are nurseries popping up that are growing. You can buy trays of plugs, native plant plugs, and, put in a 10-foot by 10-foot garden in your backyard that has all the native plants. And then once you get them in, you let it go. And you obviously you would need to monitor it for invasives, make sure you don't let the trees grow in there. And but yeah, and you can even have snags in your yard. Those are allowed now. You know what snags are? When something dies and you've got a stump or a tree that's being ravaged by all the woodpeckers, that is a thing of beauty to our native pollinators and our beautiful birds and wildlife. So everything is going to want to have a part of being in your garden. All of these creatures that we love.
Right. So we're talking to Melissa Jordan and Denise Green from the Pollinator Pathway. And how can listeners sign up, get the Pollinator Pathway sign, or learn more about becoming part of the effort in their own neighborhood?
You can go to pollinator-pathway.org, and on the home page there will be a list of links, and you can choose the one that says pathways on it. And if you go to that, you can put in the state that you're interested in, and then all the chapters in that particular state will be listed, and you can choose one in your region. And there will be many resources, including numbers that you can, call to reach membership of a particular chapter. In the state of Vermont, we have 9 chapters of Pollinator Pathway, and each one is different and lists different information. The site itself, pollinatorpathway.org, will actually give an enormous amount of information in terms of links that you can follow.
We don't want to discourage people from going to the local nurseries. They have a place. The cultivars have a place. If somebody wants a beautiful display garden, then they obviously can go and buy they're beautiful plants. And the nurseries, we want our nurserymen to thrive, but we want them to offer both. And we want to be friends with them. Yeah.
All right. So I guess my last question for you, Melissa and Denise, is what is one simple thing a listener can do this weekend that would make their yard a little more pollinator friendly before their next cup of coffee gets cold?
Well, I would say don't mow down all of the flowers that are in your lawn. Go for no mow May, or just a section of your lawn. Leave it with all those violets and maybe the dandelions and other things that are going to come along, because the birds will come through and drop seeds. So that's a good way to start.
Another suggestion that I have is leave a section of your yard a little wild with a pile of leaves so that you can give shelter to insects that really need them for protection from the elements.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Melissa and Denise. This has been very educational, and I'm looking forward to learning more about Pollinator Pathway.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. And that was a conversation I had a couple days ago with Melissa Jordan and Denise Green from pollinatorpathway.org. And I'm on the site right now, just so all of our listeners know. While I was re-listening to that, I went to the website, pollinator-pathway.org. And within our listening area, there is a few right south of us, Chafee Wildlife Refuge. And then there's the Northern Woodlands in Lyme, and East Thetford has one at down in Pavilion Road. And a little north of us within our listening area, there's a few spots in Peacham that are registered on the Pollinator Pathway. And it's the Green Bay Loop, and there's a spot right on Max Mountain Road. And that's it, folks. I am very optimistic that for all of those that have heard this segment, is going to get on the pollinatorpathway.org website and register, learn more about it. And also, too, let's see if we can get a chapter locally around here, either in Orange County or Caledonia County or Western Grafton County. There's a lot just west of us and just east of us and just south of us. There's a few chapters that are active. So I'm looking forward to seeing what our neck of the woods can do with our pollinators. So I'm just going to take a quick break and listen to some important messages. And when we get back, we're going to listen to the Outdoor Edge forecast and see what's going to be happening with us this weekend. Stay tuned.
It's a St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
At R&L Archery, we know it's not just about the thrill of the hunt or the size of the fish. It's about the moments that matter most, the traditions passed down from one generation to the next, and the stories told by the fire long after the sun is set. It's about the journey, the memories, and the time spent together with friends and family, because these are the moments that truly last a lifetime. R&L Archery, where every adventure begins. Come create your story.
You've picked the paint colors, maybe even sketched a layout on the back of an envelope. But when it comes to design, vision is only the first step. Riverside Design Works in Bradford provides comprehensive planning and pre-construction services for homeowners and businesses throughout the Upper Valley. From initial concepts to detailed plans, the process is simple, thoughtful, and functional with creative solutions for all budgets. Find out more at riversidedw.com. Riverside Design Works. Don't just dream it, build it.
It's the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
Miles Supply, your stop for all your general business products, paper towels, toilet paper, first aid kits, and more. Purchase your paper and soap products from Miles, and they'll install the dispensers for free. Do you own a salon, restaurant, coffee shop, or gym making a monthly run to the big box store for your business supplies? Save time with Miles Supply. Call today for a sales visit, 476-3963, or walk directly into their showroom, 143 Boynton Street next to Spalding High School. Miles Supply, family-owned and building relationships since 1954.
Every business story starts small. As you share your story, it creates movement, and movement builds momentum. Your social media and website are the conduits for that story. It's about more than clicks and views. It's about creating connection, community, and opportunity to do business. It's time to tell your story. Go to northeastkingdomonline.com. Our local Vermont team can help you get more from your online media. Once again, that's northeastkingdomonline.com.
From the Fairbanks Museum in St. Johnsbury, this is the Outdoor Edge forecast. Today has been pleasant, but a bit cool for the date, with cool high pressure building in from our west and highs in the valleys struggling up to around 60 degrees. Here in St. Johnsbury, for this 21st day of May, we've now nudged just past the 70-degree mark for our average highs, so struggling up to around 60 is a bit chilly. Tonight will be quite chilly with the risk of widespread frost, and this has prompted the Weather Service to issue a frost advisory, so it's advised that you cover any sensitive vegetation or bring potted plants indoors. The flowering trees have been in full bloom in recent days. Yesterday's gusty winds did remove some of the blossoms, and there could be more along those lines in the event of frosts tonight. If you have outdoor plans for tomorrow through the holiday weekend, tomorrow and Saturday look great. Sunday looks showery. It doesn't look like the proverbial washout, with overall rain amounts somewhere around 1/4 inch or less, but an approaching warm front will likely remain to our south, and southeasterly winds on Sunday will emanate from the ocean, which is still quite cold. That plus clouds and showers are likely to make Sunday another chilly day with highs only in the 50s. Our inland waterways are also still quite cold, to the point where hypothermia can set in quickly if someone becomes immersed, so exercise caution. If you're in a boat, make sure to wear a life preserver, even if you're a good swimmer. On a more positive note, stream flows have relaxed now that we've not had any steady rain for a few days, and they should not become too rowdy because of the modest amount of rain that we're likely to get on Sunday. Shower chances will remain on Monday, which is Memorial Day, but there shouldn't be any of the steadier rain that we're likely to see on Sunday, and temperatures on Monday should be several degrees warmer. Here's the forecast summary through the weekend. We've got the frost advisory in effect for tonight, starting with this evening, mainly clear skies, overnight lows from the upper 20s to mid-30s. Mostly sunny skies on Friday, highs from the mid-60s to around 70, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. For Friday night, partly cloudy skies, lows in the low to mid-30s. On Saturday, gradually increasing clouds, highs from the mid-60s to around 70 once again, light winds variable to southeast. For Sunday, mostly cloudy, showers likely, highs in the mid-50s, southeast winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. And for Monday, look for mostly to partly cloudy skies with the chance of showers and highs in the low to mid-60s. I'm Fairbanks Museum meteorologist Lawrence Hayes, and that's your Outdoor Edge forecast. Good luck and enjoy our great outdoors.
And that was Lawrence Hayes giving us the Outdoor Edge weekend forecast. So it sounds like it's going to be pretty nice this weekend, which I'm very happy about, because one thing that I do every year on the long weekend is I have this thing I do with my daughter. So we started doing this when she was about 4 years old, and she's turning 12. So 6 years, about 6 years running that we've been doing this. We try to go to as many yard sales as we can on Memorial Day Saturday. And I hope everybody's sitting down for this. Last year, we went to a record-breaking, we try to beat our record every year. We went to a record-breaking 51 yard sales all during Saturday. We wake up, we get out there like 7 o'clock in the morning, and we hit as many as we can. And there's a few rules that we have set up. One of the rules is that you have to go with the genuine intention of actually wanting to purchase something. You don't have to, because then you go completely broke within the first hour. But the other point is, like, say for instance, you go to like a multifamily yard sale. Now, if it's a multifamily yard sale and everybody has their own table set up with their own separate cash boxes, those will count as 2 yard sales or 3 yards, however it's set up. So that way it's not considered 1 yard sale. But say it's a big multifamily yard sale and they only have one cash box, and you're like, hey, Mom, how much is this? Or, hey, Aunt Kathy, what do you want? That means they're working together. Sorry, that counts as 1 yard sale. And we've classically have been going through up through Newport, because Newport actually ends up having a town-wide yard sale. You go there, you go to the town. So if you're into yard sales, Newport's your place to go. And you go there, and they end up giving you. You go to the town hall. They give you a map of everybody that actually registered to be a part of the map. But here's the thing: some people decide to just kind of jump on the bandwagon, not pay the $10 to get on the map, and then just set up a yard sale anyway, because their neighbors both set up yard sales. You know what? Someone's driving through anyway. I might as well go on there. That's a little sneaky way of doing it. But you know what? Last year, 51 yard sales. We went to 51 yard sales. I drive a Chevy Equinox, folks. That place was chock-a-block full of so many random treasures that I have either completely given out, handed out, used in the kitchen. And it's always one of those things like, I could probably use this someday. And needless to say, for those that read the Bridge Weekly Showcase that I talked about, the great garage clean out, I did an article about that. It was, my wife was not happy. And to her credit, she throws boxes in the garage all the time. So, you know, I would say maybe 60% of that junk was mine. So anyway, I digress. I just do want to thank you very much for listening to the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge. A big thanks again to Gary Moore and our guest, Mark Beauchesne from the New Hampshire Fish and Game, for sharing insights to landowner relationships, the camps, conservation education, the work being done through the Barry Conservation Camp, and all the fishing stuff. And I do want to do a very special shout out to Melissa Jordan and Denise Green from the Pollinator Pathway, talking about what we can do in our very own backyards, how to create healthier habits and habitats at home. And also Lawrence Hayes for holding down the fort at the Fairbanks Museum and giving us a very bright outdoor edge forecast. And remember, if you missed any part of today's show or Sure, and you can catch any episode and all other past episodes anytime at WYKR.com or the WYKR app or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much, folks, and enjoy the great outdoors.